Welcome to News and Brews with the Times, where we spill the tea on what's happening in Hall County, Georgia. It's May 5th, 2025. We've got lots of news, but we also know it's Cinco de Mayo, so we've got a link in the show notes about where you can get the best authentic tacos in Hall County. In today's episode, we have news about a couple of crazy crashes last week, a couple of huge lawsuits, and the latest on that building going up just off the square. Reporter Jeff Gill is also joining us to talk about a major change in leadership at Northeast Georgia Health System. Good morning. I'm Stacy Smith.
And I'm Shannon Casas.
Now grab your favorite brew and let's take a sip as we guide you through what's been happening in Hall County.
A high-speed car chase ended in a crash on Green Street last week. Authorities say the Camaro was clocked at triple digits on 85 earlier that night, and 3 teens were hospitalized in addition to a driver in another car. The Camaro's driver has since been arrested.
Oh my gosh, that happened Sunday night, right?
Yeah, so that was a Sunday night. We don't have a lot of people working in the building on a Sunday, but I think
Right.
our sports editor, Bill Murphy, and then someone from another department both actually had photos of what happened. And it sounded like it was crazy. The photos definitely look like that's a pretty serious crash.
There was definitely some damage done to the BMW. I just can't fathom going that fast on Green Street.
For those who don't know, our building is located right on Green Street across from the post office, and this literally came like right by here. And typically on a weekend like that, we have someone on call, and then they were trying to track down some information. I think there was a little bit of, a few different agencies involved, so it takes a little time to track down exactly what happened.
So do we know who was involved?
We do. So the 3 teenagers, one of them has been arrested. I'm not sure if we listed the name of the other driver, but we did in the car that I think Georgia State Patrol is saying is at fault.
And so how did it get started? How did they end up on Green Street?
So it started way down in Gwinnett County, and I think some authorities down there were chasing them at some point, and then, as they move into another jurisdiction, they pass on that information. It sounds like they turned around, I think, and then ended up coming on Green Street, going the wrong lane of traffic. That's what authorities are telling us.
Whew. That's crazy.
That wasn't the only crazy crash that happened last week. Stacy, tell us about that train crash.
Reporter Ben was able to talk to the witness who has it all on camera, and this is what he said.
It started to come down, and I heard the lights were going up. I was like, oh my, no way a train is coming right now. I was like, there's no way. And then I look, and sure enough, a train's coming. They're trying to, it was like they were trying to go on the brakes, and you could see smoke come up before, like they were trying to go on the brakes, but it was nothing stopping it. It just kept on going, and it went right through the middle of it. Exactly the middle of it, and it was wild. It was so wild. I did see the guy got out safe. He did get out. He had a little dog with him as well. They got out safe, but it was wild. It was very wild to see.
I watched it over and over again because it's so unbelievable to actually see the impact of the train. It just demolishes that truck. And there's some really interesting commentary to the video. Warning is explicit language, but definitely worth a watch. And we've been told that it's been a pretty dangerous area, and it's not an uncommon thing for these semi trucks to get stuck on the tracks. So basically that's what happened. The driver was stuck on the tracks, and the train could not stop in time.
That happens all the time. My parents actually live down in Norcross, right on train tracks, and they'll see trucks get stuck all the time. There's signs posted, the trucks still end up on the tracks.
Yeah, I know it has happened in Flowery Branch as well. And we even had some people asking in the comments on the video, was this Flowery Branch? Because it does look very similar, and it happens there so frequently. Yeah. So,
but this was down in Buford.
Yes.
So that was definitely a crazy thing to see, and it's fortunate we got video, so we can share that, and everybody can see what happened, and also be grateful that no one was hurt. The Times caught up last week with the developer of the Capstone building that's going up just off the square. We reported here on News and Brews that it will feature a steakhouse and microbrewery. Jeff, you have any details you can add at this point?
So, in speaking with Jeff Payne, who's the chairman of Capstone, he was talking about completion of the building by early August. Everything should be done by then, perhaps late July. And the steakhouse, Char STK, is still on track to be part of the new building, and I'm not sure exactly if it's opening just yet, if it's going to coincide with the building completion. But the microbrewery is more up in the air, he was telling me, and that we reported. So they're still trying to work through that a little bit, if that will happen or not. And so that's where we are. And the rest of the building will be offices, by the way, including Capstone's headquarters.
The federal government will have to pay almost $9 million to a Dahlonega veteran's family after he died at a VA hospital back in 2016. After he was injured during an elective procedure, a feeding tube was placed. That tube came out, but when it was put back in, it went into his windpipe.
That was horrible. This happened back in 2016?
Yeah, at the VA hospital in Atlanta.
So why is it just now coming to completion?
Yeah, we're not sure. It looks like the family made their initial claims back in 2018, and the lawsuit was filed in 2021. Though there were a few issues with the attorney getting documents from the government, but once the lawsuit was filed in 2021, that kind of is a standard timeline. But the judge did issue an order about how long it was taking the government to get the documents over. So we don't have any comment from the government attorney.
Okay, but it sounds like they were maybe dragging their feet even after the lawsuit was filed.
Yeah, that's the way it seems.
Well, it's got to be a really tough thing to go through, losing your loved one and in such a horrific way, and then having to go through, a lot of people, I feel like, don't file lawsuits just because it's so much to.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot to relive and go through, and a lot of filing, and it's a fight. It's definitely a fight.
So we actually reported another huge case involving a $70 million verdict. And that involved a UNG graduate who lost both of her legs during a stay at the Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital down in Albany.
Oh my gosh. I think I remember hearing about that story when it happened. How did she lose her legs?
So she had an infection and was taken to the hospital. And then while she was there, it sounds like the medications she gave her, one of them was given at 2.5 times the max dosage.
Oh.
That wasn't caught for 40 hours, and that limited the blood flow to her legs. That's what the court documents show.
Oh my gosh. That's horrendous. And is she local? Is she from here? I think you said she was down in Albany when this happened.
Right. So she graduated from UNG, but she's actually from South Georgia, but her attorneys are from Gainesville. So I'm sure they're glad to have helped resolve this case and get a payout that big for their client.
Yeah. Have we heard from them? Have they made a statement?
Yeah. So that's where most of our information came, was from the local attorneys here. I don't believe we were able to get anything from the hospital's attorney and the doctor's attorneys.
Not entirely surprising, but wow, $70 million. That's a huge win for them.
Yeah, the attorneys, I think, told us it's one of the biggest payouts in state history. Not sure if we were able to independently verify that.
I think it's a just reward. I mean, I can't imagine just the trauma of losing both legs. I think it's a good judgment.
Yeah, she's young and will, I think, be going back to school now that she's gotten through all this ordeal.
A new CEO has started at Northeast Georgia Health System. Jeff caught up with him recently, and the full story will be coming out soon. Jeff, I know this is an important position at the health system, but do you see any changes coming?
So Matt Hanley, talking with him last week, he was speaking about how there's so much change happening right now with the health system, right as we're speaking, actually, with the growth and just the opening of new offices and things that are happening around the health system, that his plan, I guess, is really just to manage that for the short term and then just kind of make sure he's grasping all the change, I guess, that's happening. So there's going to be sort of a learning process, a learning curve, I guess you'd say, for Matt as he goes further into this job.
So he's coming from the outside, right?
He is. He's coming from the outside. St. Louis is where he's from before coming here. And he worked with a healthcare company known as Nabis Healthcare.
So that's a big change because I think he's replacing Carol Burrell, who's been there, I believe, since 2011. I actually did the interview when she moved into that CEO role.
Right.
And she had been with the system for way longer than that, I think.
Yes.
Left quite a legacy. So he's
trying to basically fill her shoes, I guess you'd say.
Big shoes to fill.
Under Carol, the system grew enormously, and just the number of employees alone.
Yeah, how many employees did it have?
13,000.
13,000. It's a big job.
It is.
I know a lot of people have their thoughts about the health system. We've talked about a couple of really rough stories that didn't involve our medical facilities here, but you have that much growth, that many people coming into the system. That's a lot of things that hopefully go right, but things go wrong. You have people upset. You have just a lot of employees to manage. That's just so much going on in a health system that big.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have his hands full, that's for sure.
So
did he say anything? He didn't really say anything about changes. He's just going to pretty much listen for right now.
Yes. Yeah. Trying to, again, sort of catch up with all that's happened and just be able to put his hands around all that's taken place or that's going on right now, actually.
Yeah. It hasn't been that long since they opened that new tower.
Yeah.
And that was just earlier this year?
Right. Yeah.
And that's been a huge change.
That's correct.
And then they're opening stuff down in Brazelton too.
Yeah, they're opening. There's an expansion that's going to take place at the Brazelton campus later this year. Also, they'll be opening a new medical clinic, I guess, in Flare Branch, Northeast Georgia. Physicians Group will be opening a new office there just in a couple of months, very soon. And then there's other projects.
He's going to be juggling a lot of things all at once.
Right.
So what did you think of him?
He seems qualified. He's got a big background. He started really his career, I guess you'd say, in emergency medicine. So
that's very different than Carol, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't be more boots on the ground or whatever in the trenches than working as a doctor in emergency room, I'd say. But from there, he worked his way, I guess you would say, into hospital administration, a couple of different places. And then this latest position, which is a company that really works with hospitals and providers in terms of cost of care. And so he's got a wide variety of experience, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. And how long have you been covering healthcare with the Times?
Gosh. So we sort of divided that coverage of the healthcare system into different components. I guess you'd say I cover growth and development as a normal course of my job. The health system factors into that as they're growing physically with buildings and so forth. So and I've been doing that for about 10 years, more or less.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you've definitely been around the health system a long time.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of change there.
Yeah.
So what's this guy's name again?
Matt Hanley.
Matt Hanley.
Dr. Matt Hanley.
I guess we'll be seeing him around. I imagine he'll be out at events just like Carol was.
I'm sure.
And the Northeast Georgia has such a huge presence in the community. I'm sure everyone will come and we'll hear more about him in the future, and we wish him the best.
Certainly.
If you're curious about something else, we'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at podcastadmin@GainesvilleTimes.com. We'd also appreciate any other feedback you have and would love it if you would rate the podcast on your podcast app and share with a friend.
Thanks for listening. You can learn more about any of the stories we've talked about today at the link in our show notes. Join us again next week.